What's up, guys? It is Rick Ginn, and we are live. We are on the Rick Ginn YouTube channel to talk all about wholesaling because it's what I know, it's what I do, and it's absolutely what I love. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Rick Ginn. I've been wholesaling for 21 years, and I'm one of these guys kind of addicted to wholesaling. I enjoy it. It's had such a prominent change in my life. It's had a huge impact on my family. You guys know my son's story with Zach. And the purpose of the channel is to bring it to you and break down and make it super clear on not only how to get started in wholesaling, but actually how to make it a business. And if you truly want to become financially free and really freedom of time, because that's what I'm here for. I've never claimed to, hey, I make the most of money. I make plenty of money, but honestly, I love freedom of time, and wholesaling was the pathway I chose to do that. It wasn't easy in the beginning, and I don't hide that from anybody. But if you can give me 2 years of your undivided attention in wholesaling and master this craft, I can give you a lifetime of financial freedom, freedom to do and travel wherever you want. And most importantly, spend time with your loved ones, your family, your friends. Because guys, we only live once, so we might as well take care of it. So what we're going to do is you have 2 ways you can connect with me. You have the comment section. So this is where you introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what market you're in. I don't care if you've never done a deal or you've done 1,000 deals. This is a safe place for wholesaling. Now, here's one disclosure. I only talk about wholesaling. Why? Because it's what I do. I do not look for the trendiest thing to talk about and go, hey, let's talk about that. I don't do that. The second way you connect with me is there is a link in the comment section under Rick Ginn, and you can click that and you can do a one-on-one. And it's absolutely free. And the purpose of this is to mastermind and to help out as many people as I possible. Please be ready when I bring you on, and let's either work on deals, let's work on your mindset, or let's work on your business plan. You can't get on here and complain because I can't fix broken attitudes. You have to bring the right attitude. So without further today we are talking about the 3 insane, and I mean insane, opportunities that wholesalers have right now as we speak in 2023. And I'm telling you, this is for real. So this is what I'm doing in my business. This is what I'm going to teach you to do in your business. And you can duplicate anything me and Zach do here in wholesaling by simply just going over to freewholesaling.com. I will put it up here. Where'd I put it? I lost it. There it is. Right there, freewholesaling.com. That is a course me and my son have created. It's been out almost approaching 4 years now, and we give our entire course away for free. How can you do that? Where are you going to hit me over the head? When are you going to take my credit card? We don't do it. We're actually one of the few people. Actually, I correct that. We're the only people that give away our course 100% free, because at the end of the day, it's you that actually have to take action. So instead of letting 95% of you fail, I find the 5%, and I'm hoping to push that number to like 10% of people actually want to be successful. So why should I take your money? Because I think long-term, I am a marathon runner. I'm not a physical marathon runner. I've done half a marathon. That's as far as I can go. But I believe if you build relationships in this business and you help people out and let them get out of their own way, in return, they'll do business with you. You grow, you prosper, everybody shares and wins. And that's how a true long-term wholesaler has to think. If you think any other way, you're what I call a sprinter. That means you're going to be in the business a couple of years. You're probably going to sell a coaching program, and then you're going to go do something else like every other person does in this business. I don't do it that way. So let's jump into the 3 opportunities, the insane opportunities in wholesaling now. Enough of the fanfare. So I'm going to get to this so we can all talk and get it going. So what are the 3? I'm going to throw out, you all know this one because you haven't been in this world in 2023 if you haven't heard about this. And it's a little thing called AI. Artificial intelligence. AI. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what school you're associated with. I don't care who your parents are. If you haven't heard about AI, you should probably just get off this video right away. AI is the ability for computers to learn through the human language and actually learn and figure out how to respond. And it actually gets smarter because AI doesn't die. It lives forever. And with every syllable, every letter, every interaction, it learns. It's absolutely insane. I knew one day it'd be here. I just didn't think it'd be here this soon. Now, I will tell you, we're going to get exactly how it affects wholesaling. But from an immediate perspective, I can tell you this right now. If you call anybody for customer service, probably in the next 3 to 6 months, you're going to have no idea if you're talking to a computer or a person. And in 1 year, I guarantee that's 95% of the calls that you're going to make. So if you're going to complain about your internet, your cable, whatever, your grocery bill, anything you order, it's all going to be automated. Why? It's faster, it's cheaper, it's actually more reliable. The employees never call in sick. And so, okay, great, Rick. How does that relate to wholesaling? Let's get into it. There is not one business on this entire world that's not affected by AI. So if you go, well, I'm not going to do AI, I'm just going to stay off of it because I think it's just a fad, you're crazy. Just like cell phones were a fad, the internet was a fad. I'm telling you, it is here to stay, and it's going to affect every part of your business and even your personal life. So let's get into it. The best way we use it right now are just digital bandit signs. You go, Rick, well, that's not really AI. It is. And I tell you, someone's going to get like super smart, someone way smarter than me, probably Zach. And they're going to figure out how to have the digital bandit signs, where it's just the ability where you post bandit signs online. You guys know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. And someone's going to find a way to interact with these people with like a DM or a PM. Now, we're not quite there. These chat bots, I've worked with a lot of them, but they all have like a lot of flaws, but they're learning. And as they get smarter and they get better and the code gets better, it's going to get ridiculous. Right now, it can handle about 30% of the interactions. That's about it. What's it going to take for the other 70%? It just takes time, coding, and learning. So that's the first one. The next one, the way we're going to get government lists in the future, AI is going to be everything. You guys can use AI. So specifically, what do we use in AI in wholesaling to make it work for us? Is it like, Rick, I don't understand. Do I just type in AI? No. Chat GPT, you can use BART through Google. These are absolutely, I like BART because it is real time. Chat GPT is delayed. So I believe there is a 24-month delay. And there's certain areas it just will not go down that rabbit hole. I guess it's the government's trying to protect everybody. But remember, the government does not run AI. They're going to try to regulate it. I have no idea where it's going to wind up on this. But your ability to get government lists, and you can automatically send emails. You can send it to thousands of people in one shot on Chat GPT. It's unbelievable. And here's the really cool part is whenever you guys type in there, it learns from you. And if you don't know what I mean, you just got to try it out. If you tell it to dumb it down, if you tell it to make it longer, shorter, more abbreviated, it will do any of that stuff. Where was this when I was in school? But probably a good thing because I never would have learned anything if I let a computer do everything for me. How you request government list is going to be unbelievable, especially with emails. Eventually, you can have chat robots call people and request a list, although I highly recommend against that because it's hard enough for a human to get it. I think a computer is going to have a real struggle, but at some point, when you have a computer talking to a computer, that might all change. So keep it in mind. So a lot of you request between 6 and 9 government lists. I've always told you, if you can just get a quarter to half the list you request, you're making progress. And this is how life works. You make progress. You're never going to get 100% of what you ask for. And if you do, you're not going to be challenged in life, and life's going to be very difficult. So use it for government lists. What else we use it for? Dude, comping. Actually, AI has been helping comping through all these APIs, which is basically how you get the Zillows, the Trulios, the Realtor.com, all that stuff. They're automated APIs that are tied, and you put in an address, and it has an algorithm, and it manually computes. It automatically computes it for you. Back when I started in wholesaling, my AI for comping was going to a realtor's office and asking him what the value of a property was. Now, here's the good news, bad news with this. I'm telling you right now. The good news for you as a homeowner, so those of you that own homes or even looking potentially buy it, You now are armed with a ridiculous amount of information. In the old world, you had to go to a licensed realtor to get all this information. AI has basically found a way to basically cut through the realtor and give the data to the homeowner. Bad news for realtors, good news for homeowners. So where does that leave the wholesaler? I'm here to tell you it's a little confusing, because I will tell you, more people fight me and my company and go, I know exactly what my house is worth. Unfortunately, it's never that simple as what's on a computer. You have to look at the condition of the house. You have to decide what type of transaction they need. Do they need speed and convenience? And do they have the ability to have the house inspection? Is it going to meet normal financing requirements? There's still a lot of factors to play into it. But one thing's for sure, AI has changed how the homeowner views them basing the value of their property. And that has changed drastically since I've started. When I first started, we didn't know how to get all these government lists and everything. But I will tell you, homeowners didn't really understand the values of their house. So my biggest competitor was always a realtor, was never another wholesaler or anything like that. Now AI's put it in their hands, but I'm here to tell you, it's not as easy as homeowners think it is to sell their house. A lot of them think they can just call open door and it's sold in one shot. It's not that simple anymore. And we're going to get a little bit further into that. The other part, which I will tell you, this one, honestly, I never had the ability to do this until AI came along. And I'm talking specifically about ad copy, creating content. Now, if you're brand new to wholesaling, the really cool part is AI has made this much, much easier. You just put in ChatGPT, you can use BART, and the ad copy flows. No longer do you have to try to duplicate other people's ads. Honestly, you can find other people's Facebook library ads. You can pull them up and you can rewrite them, put them in the ChatGPT and spit out your own version. Honestly, the stuff that's written is actually better than most content creators that were paid thousands of dollars, because I used to pay these people and you had to use the exact right words. No longer, because with AI, ChatGPT, BART, all this other stuff, you can play around with it till you get the exact copy that you actually get a response from. And honestly, I never knew how to write ad copy. I had to learn it over a 10-year period. So if you're just starting out now, AI, this is a monstrous plus for you guys, because you don't have to overly think. Okay, well, Rick, where would I do this? If you guys have any type of websites, which I think the whole website landscape's going to radically change with AI. I mean, radically. A lot of our websites right now are antiquated and they don't do much. We're talking about stuff with like the metaverse and all that other stuff. I'm not going to go down every rabbit hole, but a simple landing page, which is what I recommend for everybody else. You do not need complicated websites. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a crap who wrote it. It doesn't do a lot for people. Your best website, in my opinion, is social media, Facebook, Instagram, places like that, where people can go and see if you have other testimonials or anything like that. It's one of the best places to do it. And it doesn't cost you a dime. And it's so easy to put together. Websites are complicated. You've got to use all different types of applications for it. And honestly, most of you paying $60 to $80 a month to host a website, it's a joke. You're better off spending that money on marketing. Nobody gives a crap. You're better off having like a Facebook fan page, Facebook group page, whatever it is, and just highlight your business. And you can put testimonials, videos, pictures, whatever you want in there, and it doesn't cost you a dime. And you can control and you run the narration of your page. So if you're going to have a landing page just to capture sellers' information, this is where AI is absolutely amazing. You can simply take a Podio form. It's 100% free. Create a landing page from it. There's lots of other services you can do this with. Any type of web form, a one-page landing page just gives a spot where people can fill out their address, their name, their contact phone number, and email. And from there, that's a lead. And that's where I use AI to write the content. And I don't make it overwhelming. I simplify it and I'll play with it for hours. It works really well. I used to have other people write this for me. So if you guys are looking to do a landing page and get some sort of lead page so you can capture sellers' information, it's the best way to do it. Sellers do not want to look at 36 pages of like a million different forms to go through a website. I would never do it. Most people don't do it. I think websites are going to drastically change with the AI in the next few years. So let me see, where am I here? Okay, we're getting through this. So the last one is sorting data. My God, just using AI through BART, Chat GPT, and guys, there's a host of others. I like it. It changes so fast. I'm not an AI expert. I'm a wholesaler. And you're going to find a lot of wholesalers have moved over and now all of a sudden they're AI experts. Guys, how did that happen? These are the same people that ran the Amazon stores, who wanted to have you trade on Forex, that want you to do all these other funds. They go to the latest, greatest thing. When wholesaling was hot, it was great. But the problem is they're going to constantly bounce around. Stay away from people like this because they're there just to take your money. They are sprinters, and sprinters never make it to the finish line. So when it comes to data sorting, you can actually have Chat GPT sort data. If you want to get crime statistics, you want to get a certain amount of how many transactions were done in an area with certain criteria, you can sort all this. You can do it from crime. You can do it from demographics. You can do it from the U.S. Census Bureau, guys. All public data. You can find out who's moving in a state, who's moving out, where's the biggest influx. Obviously, Texas and Florida has been the biggest push, but you can find all this stuff out in real time in any type of AI application. It works phenomenally. You're getting much more real-time data. And at some point, I'm praying to God that the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, will listen to us and start giving data in like real-time reports. It would be great to get a daily, if not weekly report, but how about just the last 30 days? Did you know that most NAR data, the Realtors Association, it's 3 months behind? And honestly, by the time they're giving that 3 months, it's closer to 5 months by the time they put that data in. And they do it on purpose because they want you to navigate everything through the realtor. With the day and age of technology and AI, if I can get a stock or a digital coin and get it to value in per second, why can't I do the same thing in real estate? I think eventually someone's going to come out with it and it's going to be major game changing. Now, the National Association's Realtors data, they have a national database. You guys can look it all up. And then you have your local MLSs. And remember, all real estate is local. But this data, guys, is absolutely amazing. My problem is it's very dated and it's not great for wholesalers. It's good to look back a year. But if you're looking where to go the next quarter or the next 2 quarters, the information's terrible because it's so dated. They hold it back on purpose because they want the realtors to have the advantage with it. I could go on and on about this, but I won't. Okay. Opportunity number 2, interest rates. This is where it's getting good, guys. Honestly, I've never been in a market where we have such a disparity in interest rates. And this is absolutely, we are living in a time in wholesaling that honestly, we have never gone through. But I'm going to tell you the pluses of why this is a good thing. A lot of you are like, oh my God, it's such a struggle to get people to sell their house because they're trying to hold on to the low interest rates. It's going to change. And I'm going to tell you why. Interest rates right now, as I shoot and live stream this video, is just under 7.2. It's about 7.13, 7.18, depending on what day you look at it. That's for a 30-year normal mortgage. Now, if you go get a jumbo, which I believe is 500,000 or 600,000 or more, that goes up to about 7.3, 7.4. Okay. I didn't think we'd tip 7%. I really thought it was going to level off, but we are not in control here. You have your federal government, and the federal government tell you we don't run it. The Federal Reserve runs it, which is an independent council, which unfortunately is appointed by the president of the United States, but they run independently, meaning the president doesn't tell them what to do. So their biggest concern is inflation. And I don't know what, I've been to the grocery store. Everything's still costing an arm and a leg. I think most of the numbers are reported. They're trying to get it down to 2%. I believe it's stuck at 4%, and it's showing signs of going back up. So we potentially could have 1 or 2 more interest rates hikes. I have no idea, but I believe these interest rates are going to hold for the remainder quarters of this year. So we're getting ready to go into Q4. Rick, get to the point. How the hell does this relate to wholesaling? Listen, interest rates, You think the interest rates going up would just destroy the real estate market. It's had the opposite effect because we had a time period, we had the lowest interest rates in US history. So we've gone from the lowest interest rates in US history to the highest interest rate in the last 40 years. And catch this, this just came in last week. We have hit an all-time low for mortgage applications applied for in August. What does this mean? Honestly, I don't even know anymore. But I will tell you what the side effect is going to be of this. I believe that inventory is going to remain low. And the Fed actually wants the opposite to happen. The only way the Fed's going to make the opposite happen is they actually have to lower. If they lower interest rate, guess what? Everybody would start selling their home, period. But as long as it stays high because of fear of inflation, this is going to lock down. Now, the crazy part is we're going to roll into next year, 2024, and we're talking about interest rates here. Guess what? During an election year, which is 2024, interest rates usually tend to hold pretty flat. So I believe we're going to hold at this period for quite a while, probably maybe a year or so. I have no idea. I'm making my best guesstimate because that's all it is. Now, it doesn't matter in wholesaling. It's not going to change what I do. Why is this important? Well, I will tell you this. Who does this affect mostly? It's your cash buyers. You have to have an incredible amount of cash buyer intel. And what do I mean by that? In the old days, when interest rates were really low, cash buyers were a dime a dozen. And the reality is you could do whatever you wanted with your cash buyers. Honestly, most wholesalers treated them like crap. Today, you have to do the opposite. You actually have to develop relationships with them. You got to get to know them, and you have to vet them to make sure they're not other wholesalers just looking to steal off your list. You want to find real cash buyers looking to buy in the areas that you market for motivated sellers, and you got to make sure they have the funds and they're ready to go and they know what they're doing. A lot of the old cash buyers you dealt with, they don't even want to mess with today's interest rates because if it keeps going up, they're going to be in trouble. So cash buyers are looking for good discounts. They're looking for quality properties, and most importantly, looking for wholesalers that actually understand and know what they're doing. Now, you have to work with your cash buyers. If they've never done an assignment of contract, you have to teach them. And odds are if they've never done an assignment of contract before, that deal is probably not going to work out because I don't have 2 weeks to train you on how to do it. You refer them over to your title company and you learn with them. But you have to work with your cash buyers because there's a lot less of them. They're much more picky, and you need to understand exactly what they want. Remember, who's your customer? Your cash buyer is your customer. Your motivated seller is your product. If you do not appease your customer, don't worry about the motivated sellers because you'll never, ever get this business straightened out till you figure that part out. Okay? So we can't treat our cash buyers like garbage. Let's talk about this, the slingshot effect with interest rates. The crazy part is I got people at 3%, 3.5% interest rates over here. And then I got 7.25% over here. On average, 3-point difference is monumental. Let me tell you why. People are taught to so there's no more refis. I mean, guys, there's zero. Unless it's a cash out refi on a commercial, it ain't happening. It's not going to happen. So before we get into residential, let's talk about commercial. There's so much commercial debt out there at 2, 3, 3.5% interest rates. And one thing in commercial debt, it's not like you get a 30-year like you do on residential. A lot of it comes up in 5, 7, and 10-year increments. Well, guess what? Trillions of dollars are coming due, and that's going to have a drastic effect on the market. I don't know how it's going to impact it, but that money, when it gets refinanced or reconfigured, the cash flow is going to hurt really bad because you can't just raise rents way up. And in fact, most apartment rental rates are dropping. So this is going to have a catastrophic effect on rentals, specifically apartments, because that's the one thing that they are mass building all over the United States right now because it actually makes sense still. As crazy as that sounds. Number 2, the slingshot effect. If I have a house at 3% and I want to upgrade. I go, but man, I am not paying 7.25%. What does that person do, guys? They sit tight. They hold tight. They do nothing. I'm going to knock this thing over. They do nothing. So if you ever had like a slingshot, you know, when they kind of pull it back and they hold it, we're in that hold position right now. I went through this, guys, 2007, 8, and 9. I went through not the same scenario, but it was definitely a slingshot. And what that means is after people started selling and the inventory unloaded, it was unreal for the next 10 years. It was a little bit painful for 2 years. I'm not going to lie to you, but I made do of it. I still flipped enough houses. I did plenty of wholesaling because that's the only thing that was moving. And for the next 10 years, I've never seen such easy pickings in my life. You guys are in that phase right now because eventually when those interest rates break, maybe we sneak up probably to 7.5%, maybe. I don't think that's really that far off the stretch there. But when those interest rates can get back down to 5.5%, 5%, guess what's going to happen? All those people holding that slingshot back, they're going to let go and they're going to sell. Let me ask you, over the last 2 years, how many bad houses do you think have been sitting on the market that need to be sold? How many of you wholesalers have seen crappy houses and they go, because of the interest rates, I just can't sell right now? And it is going to be unbelievable when interest rates drop, what's going to happen to inventory. I think you're going to see when interest rates normalize and people start doing refinance and stuff like that. Guys, refinances is a big part of the real estate industry. So no refinances, no one wants to buy new. And we have over a third, if not 40% of all properties in the United States being sold by cash right now. Never in history before have we seen numbers like that. So at some point, when the Federal Reserve decides to take their foot off the hold on the Federal Reserve rate and get us back down to like a 5%, in my opinion, is a very, honestly, anything in a 5.5, drop it 2 points, I think you're going to see inventory go through the roof. And guess what, guys? When inventory goes through the roof, there's going to be a lot of sellers. There's a lot of people not taking care of their houses. They're run down. They have renters that aren't paying. They can't afford to fix them up. Just look at the repairs you've done either in your apartment, your home, or anything in the last 3 years, and think about all the people that have put off because inflation's jacked the rate up. Guys, there's a slingshot effect, and it's going to come. It always happens in real estate. In 2008, 2009, nobody wanted to sell. Don't worry, everything's going to fix. Guess what? They all gave up in the end. Now, those were normal interest rates, and inventory exploded. We went from 3.5 to 4 months to 27 months in less than a year and a half. At some point, this lock hold on inventory is going to give. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, and I don't really even predict it this year, but something is going to let loose. I've always told you, remember when I told you when they started raising interest rates? Real estate is the long-term play. It does not change overnight, but once it gets to changing, it's like dumping gas on a fire. It goes crazy. So we're watching a lot of these key factors. Here's the good news, guys. No matter what happens, wholesaling always works. What I'm trying to tell you is if you learn the skill sets of wholesaling right now and you learn to talk to people and you get the basics out of the way, and it's painful. Like, it's not fun. It is what it is. You have fun while you do it. But once you learn that skill set, imagine if your leads tripled, if not quadrupled, because the inventory started easing. And then people feel like they could trade houses more freely. That's going to give you a lot more opportunity. A lot of people, even in my company meets up, they go, Rick, we'd love to tell you, we just can't afford to right now because when I give up my 3% interest rate, I can't pay 7.25%, and houses are significantly more of a cost. So I think eventually prices will flatten. If not, some areas have already gone backwards and inventory is going to explode. Now, I've seen a lot of influencers, oh, the economy is going to crash and this and stuff. I'm not going to go that far because, number one, I don't have a crystal ball. But I will tell you, this interest rate pinch, at some point, it is going to slingshot this market. And it's a good thing for wholesalers. And I believe we need a more balanced market. But I still wholesale every day, guys. Which leads us to the next one, motivation with interest rates. When interest rates get more normalized, people are like, okay, I'm going to sell because I can trade this house, I can get a better house, and it doesn't cost me any more in interest rates. When that happens, you're going to see an explosion in inventory. The reason we have prices are still steady, if not climbing, Florida's still climbing. This is absolutely nuts. The reality is there's such a disparity in interest rates. Nobody wants to pay the higher amount, and they don't want to pay the higher real estate prices. And so a lot of people are making decisions just based purely on money. And unfortunately, 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a choice. So keep that in mind. So the last part is, and I want you to understand this, is what can we do now on like deals that just don't completely make sense, or I can't get the cash buyer intel to get it right? We are going to do reverse wholesaling. I've done this from day one. It works really well. I didn't invent it. It's been around since the 50s. So if anybody wants to take credit for it, they're full of it. It's just been around forever. What did it do? All it means is you do it backwards. You do it backwards. It's like learning a dance. You got to like, if you ever put like the feet marks down on the ground, and by God, I need dance lessons more than anybody. So I got multiple events I got to come up to. Maybe somebody can help me out in the crowd. But you got to put down the little footsteps and figure out the dance before you do this. And how does it work? It's real simple. You need to find a motivated seller. And if you're not quite sure on the terms, but they're highly motivated, go out and get cash buyer intel. And all you're looking for is someone to pay you, I like to say significantly more than what you're going to pay for it. But here's what you got to do. You got to create longer contingency periods because you're uncertain about this property. Not all properties fit this criteria, but a lot these days, because sellers will not come down on their price, but the house needs love and it needs help. You just need to find a cash buyer that's willing to take on these types of projects. Now, you're going to have longer contingency periods. My recommendation on any property that you're not comfortable with or the numbers not making sense, 30 days. If you can't find a buyer in 30 days or less, you probably don't belong in wholesaling. Don't try to take on a property that you are unsure with, you can't get comps, and try to do a 7-day inspection period. It's suicide, guys. Don't do it. So if I have a tight deal, and we do this all the time, if the deal's tight and the seller don't come to the number, but I know they're motivated, I'll put it on a contract. I'll do a 30 to 45-day inspection period. If we can't get good traction in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we just let the property go. We tell the seller, it's just worse than what you thought. And unless you can take a discount, if you can knock the price down, I have to get out of the contract. And I don't feel sorry for people like that because honestly, they know the price needs to be lower, but they need some sort of incentive to do it. And once I go out and find cash buyers won't pay for it, I tell them, listen, I confidently can't buy it for this price. And I don't lose sleep about it. Now, when you guys get a smoking deal, you put it under contract and you do wholesaling the normal way. But because we're in such a crazy time in the real estate market, reverse wholesaling works really well this way. The biggest challenge you're going to have with the reverse wholesaling is you guys want to put stuff under contract. You don't want to put it under contract, and then you want to bring your cash buyers in, and you have to resist that urge. You have to find a way to have some sort of protection before you bring your cash buyer in there, because people are just weird. Not everyone's going to do what they say they're going to do. That's just how life works. So you need to understand they're going that. So the best way to do reverse wholesaling, once again, I cannot emphasize this enough, is your relationships with your cash buyers. Not only do you have to get great cash buyer intel, but you have to have incredible relationships with the cash buyers. Because if you don't have a great relationship, you're not going to get the information to facilitate a great reverse wholesaling deal. I'm telling you guys, this stuff works all the time. So let me take this off here. Let's jump in the comments, and then we'll jump on the lives here and we'll have some fun. So let me see. Let's see. Awesome. Okay. Well, a lot of you guys are answering most of your questions. Let me see if I'm missing any here. Okay. Let's jump in the lives and let's see. Danny, you there?
Hey, Rick.
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You?
I'm just chilling today. It's not 300 degrees out here in Florida, but I'm
That's
having
awesome.
a fun day. What's going on, man? What can I help you out with?
So I'm coming across a lot of probate leads that are involving minors, and the the information is marked private. And I'm wondering if you have any tips on dealing with probates involving minors.
It's challenging. Honestly, I spent a good first 2 years of my probate career getting yelled at by parents. Um, you got to understand, not all court dockets. Some of them protect the minors, but like depending on what state you are and what age they set, you just can't push the minor thing. If it's a minor, honestly, it's messy. Personally, I don't know if this is going to help you, give you a little guidance. I've never done a probate deal successfully with a minor involved, meaning that's the person that's deceased.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, I'm talking about there's minors that are that are the heirs. Like
The heirs. The only person you have to focus on is the PR. It's
okay,
completely up to them. I mean,
okay,
um, here's the good news, bad news. The good news is minors really don't want the property. So you don't never have that problem, and they don't really
hmm
know the value of the property. The bad news is you usually have to deal with an adult or a guardian.
okay.
And unfortunately, adults, a lot of times, they're worse than kids, in my opinion. I don't mean to sound so bad, but like they're the ones that want to bring in a realtor, get an appraisal, and they don't understand the complexity of the issue by doing all that. And
Sure.
so you do have to honor them if they're part of the heirs. It is what it is. But when I first started doing probates, I took the painstaking effort of chasing down all of the beneficiaries.
hmm
Huge mistake. It's literally just a waste of time.
Okay.
By the way, they will help you bend over backwards because they all want to get paid,
hmm
but they're usually not responsible, and they'll agree to it. Three others won't, and you just wind up spinning your wheels and wasting your time. And you spend hours of time on the phone with people
hmm
there, and then you notice for a while, you go, now I know why you're not the PR,
Right.
because they'll call you at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've never ever had a problem with a PR.
Okay.
There's the reason. Think about it in your family. If you had to appoint someone to take care of your affairs, you don't go find the most irresponsible person in the family. You find the person who's like demonstrated trust,
Sure.
reputation,
hmm
character. And so just learn from my lessons. I tried and tried. I thought I could track down the heirs to get the PR's information when I couldn't find them. And it was always, I really just pissed off the PR. And then I got a lot of drama with the heirs. So, that's the good news, bad news with it. So I'm
Okay.
just
Cool.
happy you're doing probates.
Hey, I love it. I started using your letter, and I sent them out the past week or so. I've only sent out maybe like 40 or something, and
Yeah.
I've already getting calls on it, and it's amazing. It's
So
really helpful.
let me ask you this. What do I tell you the biggest key to be successful in probates are in a simple statement?
Probably consistency and
There
doing
you
it.
go.
Actually
Dude,
just
dude, Danny's done his homework. I will tell you, Danny, everyone gets excited when they first put them out. And then if you don't get some phone calls and 30 days go by, they go, this sucks. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go try something else.
yeah,
And this is the problem. And it's not just a generational thing. It's just everybody wants instant gratification, and you're not. Wholesaling rewards people that will take a ton of action and stay on course.
yeah,
And if you just take a ton of action, but you keep redirecting it and try to find the latest, greatest thing, you will never last in this business. So I'm actually really happy because I was 50-50 what he was going to say on that. But you're right, because probate is slow, and it's slow and boring, and it's monotonous. And
yeah,
that's what I want to hear from everyone does it, because it shouldn't be exciting. You just go through it and get it. And then when you get that deal, you're like, oh my God, like I've got a like once in a lifetime deal. I get them all the time in probates, but I don't get hundreds of calls a month. I sometimes get one or two. That's
yeah. I've
just how
got
it is.
two in the past week. That's it.
That's it.
But I've
So
only been doing it for a week too, so that's pretty good.
you got to set a plan to do it for 12 months. You got to
hmm
write it out and go, okay, here's how many letters on average we're going to send. And you'll figure in the first 2 months of what the real numbers are. And then it doesn't cost a lot of money, but you got to take the time to pull the leads and get it done. And after a while, that's how I wind up doing hundreds and hundreds of probates. Everyone's like, why are you so good? I go, like, listen, you can pay me however much money you want. If you just consistently do it, and do it regardless if you get a lead or not, and just keep pounding away at it. Now, every now and then, if you take on a county where you're not getting leads and you've given it at least a year, then you have like, okay, this is crazy. But the biggest thing is everybody starts probates, and most people quit probates within 90 days, almost guaranteed. And everyone's like, why do you do so well? I go, well, for 4 months, I didn't even get a lead, but I didn't quit.
Yeah.
And then for the next 4 months, I did 3 a month. So it just always averages out. So I love to hear that you're doing probates. And the nice thing, guys, if you even do probates, like you could have a full-time job, you could have 2 jobs, you could still easily do it. It's not that hard. So
yeah, maybe like an hour every morning when I do it. And
I know.
just
But I will tell you,
them.
when we're struggling to find people with the right motivation and trying to find the right types of projects, I mean, probates nails every one of them. The problem is there's not hundreds of leads. You get them, and if you get 50 leads in a week and 1 or 2 people call you, like that's amazing, because you would have to call 10,000 people to get that kind of returns in cold calling or anything else you're going to do. It's just how the numbers work out. So awesome. You got any other questions for me while you got me here?
I guess the only thing that's still on the probates is that, one of these calls that I got was actually a realtor who was, I guess, the person I sent the letter to contacted a realtor who then contacted me. And how would you kind of recommend going at a scenario like that where there's a realtor?
So who called you, the PR
realtor
or the realtor?
The realtor. It's not gone to the point where a PR has been elected.
Yeah.
So they just got the letter, and I think they filed the probate maybe like last week or something. So it's not very far along.
I mean, you got to take the subtle clues. If the realtor calls you, think. What do you think the homeowner's thinking? Like, walk me through the rationale in your head right now.
Well, so the realtor was saying that, that the person that passed away, they had no next of kin that was, I guess, on title or anything, and the sister of the guy lives in the house currently, and there's 2 other siblings that are, I think, estranged. So which kind of makes me think that it might be a messy probate to get involved with, but I don't know.
So here's how I look at it. This might be a blessing in disguise. I've had realtors do the exact same thing. I'm like, oh crap. Let me just go straight to the homeowner. You got one or 2 things happen. Either you have a highly aggressive realtor that's like, oh, how dare they send you a letter? I'll take care of it. Or you have a realtor who goes, we got a really messy situation. If you can help me figure out how to sell this, we might be able to put a deal together. You just got to find out which one you have.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you have that many errors and it's a mess, the realtor could actually be an asset for you, because you can find out real quickly if there's a deal here or not. When it comes to heirs and PRs and beneficiaries, all that stuff, when they're like that messy, it's a nightmare. So sometimes a realtor they're going to want to get paid.
Sure.
And as long as like there's a real number in there, you can pay them, and you just let them know up front. But like if they're looking for full retail, let the realtor go through all the bells and whistles, put it on the market, inspections, try to get financing at 7.25%. Good luck, So if they want to work with you and they understand, just don't represent yourself as a wholesaler, just because that's like a triggering word for realtors.
That's like a cardinal sin for realtors, isn't it?
So you just got to say, listen, I'm just a cash buyer. I specialize in probates. I understand the process, and I help homeowners out. And, if you're looking to sell a house quickly, we might be able to put a deal in. I got a lot of deals I'm working on. Just kind of listen to their attitude. If they're a nightmare, it's like you got to just like kind of decide it. But when you get too many errors involved, probate gets messy. And the worst thing is when you have like 6 errors and you get 5 of them to agree after like 2 months, and then you got 1 holdout. It sucks. And you got to have somebody like, usually the PR is the person in charge and tries to rally everybody, but sometimes a realtor can help you do that as well too. So maybe the realtor will save you from a lot of time and aggravation. If it's such a mess, let the realtor sort it out, and tell the realtor when you get an agreement, just give me a call. We'll see if we can make it happen. If not, move on. But most of these houses, if they need work and they're rough, realtors really don't know what to do with them because they don't have built-in cash buyers. And that's where you got to let them know. So listen, I can help the client get the property sold even before the probate's over.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have to pay the mortgage. They don't have to mow the lawn. They don't have to shovel snow out of the driveway. They don't have to run the utilities. And so you're going to have to educate the realtor, but you're going to they have to have really open ears to listen to you. So represent yourself as a cash buyer and you should be able to cross that bridge.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, man. I'll see you later. So guys, that just so you understand that how probates go. Number one, you just got to be extremely consistent and you got to like listen to everybody's problems. So I like them. There's just only so many leads that you can get from them. So, okay, let's pull up. Let's see who's going to be next year. What was I doing? Okay. How did I miss here? Peter, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I apologize if I asked a question on something you might have covered. I, for some reason, thought you were starting at 6, not 5.
It's okay. What's up?
Got my timeline screwed up. For probates, if I can't get one in a certain county or I'm struggling getting it there, is it okay to just like hop around to other counties?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it's like I'm wholesaling.
The challenge with probates is when you do multiple counties, everyone's like, well, if I do one, I'll just do 5.
Yeah.
It's the problem is, I'm not going to use that analogy. That would be bad. It's like doing with 5 different people with 5 different attitudes with 5 different directions.
Okay.
It's like if you had 5 girlfriends all at once, you'd lose your freaking mind. The same thing happens in probate because it's all in the same state. It just drives you nuts. I have 2 counties. They're 9 miles apart, and you would have think you left the United States when you go to one of the probate departments. And that's why my employees just look at me like, Rick, we did 7 counties at one point. We don't do it anymore. We narrowed ours down to basically 3. But we have a 9-year track record. We know exactly what we're going to get. And I did 2 counties for over 2 years, never even got a deal. So I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this county? It's just one that just doesn't work for probates. After 2 years, guys, you can stop doing probates. It's not going to work in that county. And it's a very affluent county with everything sells for cash very quickly, and I get it. In those types of markets, probates are very tough. So if you're just switching one because one's in a pain ass, no big deal. It's when you try to juggle them. 2's manageable. 3, honestly, it's hard unless you have help. You got to have people help you get the data and sort it. And especially, my God, if you got to drive to the courthouse and get it on a bi-weekly basis, logistically, it's hard to keep up with. So doing one switch, no big deal. But just understand every time you add a county, you're adding complexities and logistics gets really problematic.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like you're doing probates every day for 2 and 3 hours and it wears into you. Like, can't we be doing something a little more efficient? The truth is you can't. It's just, what can you tolerate with probates? And that comes the question. You can't scale probates throughout the United States. Nobody's ever done it. People say they've done it, but they'll never show how many, it's because you would go broke with what you have to pay in overhead. There's just no way around it. So understanding that, pick one that that's in your market that you like, that's in your average median price, and go all in and figure one out first before you add 2 and 3 and 4. Because we went backwards once we got over 3 counties, we definitely went backwards in probates. And there's a huge learning curve with it. So one, no problem.
Also for, I forgot to ask Zach this last night. For when it comes to sending out mail, can we do that as a follow-up to places we've already cold called, or should we have that be a completely separate list?
A follow-up to what?
Like a property we've already cold called, either they just didn't respond to us or they just said no for the time.
I mean, you can put it in. What I like to do is we have a catch-all in our company or like after 90 days, no response, especially texting and cold calling. We put them in a database just for a simple postcard. And we do like an ROS postcard, and it only goes out once. And if it catches them, great. And if it doesn't, it is what it is, and we move on. But since you already have the data and you've paid for it, and you're okay doing mailings, just decide which one to do. But I wouldn't do a letter because it's too costly. Just do a simple postcard. The ROS postcard works well. You can pick any others you want from Open Letter Marketing, but that's the only way you do it. So like my probates, when they don't respond after 2 months, we put them into just a, it's basically we buy houses. We just do the ROS postcard with an automated offer on it, and they tend to respond pretty favorably to it. But remember, you do the McDonald's Burger King approach. If they don't want to answer the phone, sometimes they will actually respond to a phone call. The key with any type of postcard or any mailing you do is have somebody answer the phones live. That is the one singular difference that you can't, if you don't answer the phone, you're going to spend hours chasing these people down. It's actually cheaper just to answer it yourself. Have a spouse, a girlfriend, a partner, or someone responsible help you answer the phones. Because the reality, guys, you're mostly answering the phones from like 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m. So if you have a full-time job, you got to kind of figure a plan around it. But if not, they actually have softwares like CallRail, CallFire, Vumper, all these that you can actually, if the phone rings to you 3 times and you're busy, it can go and forward to the next phone call. Maybe your partner or somebody else can help you out with it. So there's no reason not to answer the phones live anymore. If you're going to spend all that time and money, you might as well answer the damn phone.
Yeah,
Makes sense?
I'm actually putting together a CallRail account right now. So
yeah, so do the simple version on it. Yeah, I mean, it can get expensive. I mean, our bill's like, I'm embarrassed to say what the number is, but I've been using it so many years. But the call forwarding and stuff like that, absolutely amazing. And then we like to record everything in CallRail. So a lot of times our salespeople are in their cars or on their phone, and they don't even write anything down. They just kind of they go back to the recorded call and they pull the information out of there. So I like to write shit down, but that's just me.
okay,
So.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out a plan to keep everything like organized. So
Okay. Anything else?
not that I can really think of right now. No, appreciate it.
Okay, you got it, man. Okay, see you, Peter.
Bye.
Later. Okay, let's see here. I got plenty of time left here. Let's see. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, man?
Oh, Rick.
You don't see enough of me regularly, right?
Yeah. I just got a quick question. I got to go to football practice, but so
who's practice?
my son's 7-year-old.
All right, dude. Starting him.
That's fun.
He does like Pop Warner.
First year in tackle.
Cool. What position is he playing?
Well, right now they got him at free safety.
That's tough. That's cool, man. Does he like it?
He loves it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Every time we get home from practice, he wants to hit the tackle dummy I bought him. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome,
yeah,
man.
I'm gonna get vulnerable with my business. So I have 13,000, in my wholesaling business just from my assignments fees I've done so far.
Okay.
I found a deal yesterday. Somebody reached out to me. They're selling a trailer in a mobile home park. Me and my wife went after church and looked at it. It's a solid trailer. I spoke with the tenants that were in there. They said that they'd be willing to sign a year lease agreement if I was to purchase it. They don't want to move. They want to stay there. They seem like some good people. He wants $11,000 for the trailer, which I don't think is a bad price for it. The rent's $865 a month, and that's what they said. They said as long as the rent don't change, and he's charging them $865 a month. They pay their own utilities, and I pay the lot rent, which is $320, and it comes with water, so it's around $545 in cash flow.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, get that cash flow a month, or keep my 13,000 to be able to use for marketing and just continue wholesale.
It's a personal choice. Listen, if it didn't have the land lease thing on it, it'd be a complete no-brainer, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So those are my favorite deals because I own a lot of trailers like that because they pay me royalties every month and I never have to worry about the future. The only thing you have to do is you have to read the land lease, and you got to read it in detail. You don't need a lawyer to read it to you. Just go through it and just see if there's a cap on what they can do. Because a lot of them have a built-in like 3% every year it goes up. And you need to find out if that's in it, you're going to have to try to find a way to raise the rent like almost 3% every year. Otherwise, it's going to eat into your cash flow. So try to find out how they calculate the land lease. Now, it's not a lot of money. I agree. But the problem is you're not owning the property. You're just buying the trailer, which in essence, you're buying a car.
Yeah.
So find out how they increase the land lease and see if it's written in the contract and see how often they raise it. Because especially since 2020 with everything with inflation, you want to see if there's a cap on it. You got to just try to make sure there's a cap on it, because if they keep raising it and say rents go stagnant or backwards, it could be a bit of a problem. But 6,300, how does water and electric work on the property?
The water comes with the lot rent, and then the electricity, the tenants pay that themselves.
It's metered out. Okay. And what about garbage? Is that included with the lot lease?
I didn't ask him about that, but he didn't say that was a expenditure.
Okay. And you said that they wanted 11,000 for it?
Yeah, 11,000 for the trailer.
Okay.
And I know he did say that he said this year that the owner went from 300 to 320 in lot rent. So that may be, part of his deal.
Okay. So you have to read that paperwork with a fine tooth comb. So make sure there's no restrictions from to resell it or anything like that. And number two, you just got to check out the trailer from a landlord's perspective to make sure. How old is the trailer?
It's a 1993.
It's pretty new from where I come from, because most of the trailers I have are 70s and 80s.
He said they had I guess the floor joists and those were like really like beefed up. He said they're really good, and he did a lot of work on the floor, and because it looks like brand new flooring in there.
I mean, basically you would get all your money back in 2 years. So if you think you can get all your money back in 2 years, you really don't have a whole lot to lose, because everything else is gravy after that, right?
Right.
But once again, I'm not in your shoes, Aaron. You've got to look at make sure your family's taken care of, your wife, everything, the kids.
Yeah, and my thing was, and I talked to my wife about it, I have my full-time job. My thing was, taking away from, my marketing and stuff that I could use all that for, instead of just leaving myself with like $3,000 to start to continue.
So what if you gave the guy $5,000 down and just made some payments over the next, say, 3 years?
I can bring it up to him. I thought about that too.
Yeah, do it, because it's and just do the math on it, because that minimizes your risk and still gives you a good return.
Yeah.
So that's what I would try to do, because it's your worst case scenario if it ever gets. How close are you to the water there?
That one's down there in Lake Charles, so it's
You still get hurricanes come your way.
Yeah. A hurricane come through, it's probably gone.
So if you get him to do a seller finance, whatever you come up with, you actually minimize some of your risk. Say it gets blown away with a hurricane, you can just walk away from it.
Yeah.
Instead of being out $11,000, you're out $5,000. And that's how I would kind of look at it.
Yeah.
And just offer on it. But once again, you can't go. I mean, it's in 2 years to get all your money back. I don't like the land lease part. But if there's cash flow on top of the land lease and you can afford to do it, if not, I can tell you this, you should be able to easily sell that deal to anybody. That most people would okay. The biggest problem with those is, I'll be honest with you, is the management of the tenants.
Right.
It's just more maintenance on those type. Now, how long those tenants been there? 2 years? A year?
I didn't ask him that. I know he has proof of every month where they paid on time, though.
Okay. So see how long they're going to be there and how long they want to stay there. If you can get 2 years out of them and get some sort of seller financing, it's not a huge risk. You've bought dumber things, Aaron, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're looking for stuff to pay you. So make sure your wife's okay with it and you're not putting yourself at financial risk. But remember, if you take the income you make from wholesaling and you buy assets that produce for you, that's how you truly get rich in this business. So it's not a huge risk. You've probably bought fancier cars and stuff like that. I've
Yes.
wrecked beautiful cars even when I was young, not nice cars, just crappy cars. So we've all done stupid things. So if you're okay with it with your wife, I would just try to get some sort of concession for the seller financing. Or if you're going to pay him for cash, just hit him with a lower number.
Okay. Yeah, because
Okay.
I do know that was his first rental, and he said he's upside down on a car he's trying to get rid of right now, so he's wanting to pay it off. And
Okay.
so
I mean, but basically based on that you're getting a 57% return on your money. But there's a lot of things that people don't tell you can go wrong. Rentals can go upside down.
yeah.
Matter of fact, I just had multiple trailers where they got trashed. Like I just got the news the other day. I'm like, I'm not happy about it, but I got the bill at $7,000 and it's going to cost me 2 to 3 months of rent. So I'm going to have a different discussion with somebody else on that, but this stuff does happen and understanding tenants are tenants. So how far away are you from the property?
An hour.
Okay. You got to take that into consideration too.
Yeah.
Okay. So I always look, if you can get your current tenants, would they sign a 2-year deal with you?
Well, I asked them when I was there the other day if they would be willing to sign a year lease if I was to buy, and they said absolutely. They don't want to go nowhere. That's their
Okay.
home.
So try a 2-year deal because I'm trying to make sure you get all your money back. And if you get all your money back after that, it's just gravy, right?
Right.
But if they take care of the place and they do a good job, that's the problem. Sometimes trailers, man, like the higher you go in rent, the rougher the tenants like tear them up. And so if you're okay with it, I'm not crazy about the land lease, but you got plenty of cash flow on it. If you produce that in my local area, I would buy it with my eyes shut. But I would have to find somebody to manage it for me. So I assume Aaron's going to be the manager on it. So you just got to figure that out. So
Yeah.
just
If I was to wholesale this deal, what kind of price do you think I should be at for something
say it again.
like that? If I was to wholesale this deal, what kind of price do you think I should be at with this? It's an
You
older
could
model
easily
truck.
walk away with a $5,000 check, in my opinion. Dude, it gives somebody a 57% return. On that, most people would look for about a 20 to maybe 22%. So you can reverse engineer the number. So if you did that, if it's producing 6,300 a year and say you sold it for 20, that gives a 30% return just to kind of show you where the numbers are. But remember, you got to find someone that wants to do the land lease. So I think if you sold it at like 20, you would you're not going to bulk at that. You make plenty of money with that. You make almost another 10 grand.
Yeah. I spoke with one of my cash buyers yesterday about it, just get his opinion. And he said, yeah, if you don't end up getting it, he said, let me know.
Nah. So really, Aaron, it comes down to, is it your wife?
Really, it's my decision.
Girlfriend, whatever?
My wife, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a discussion you two have. You already know my considerations. I think you know everything in the scope, and it's a personal decision. Like 2 years goes by quickly. If it works out, you just made 57% on your money. How much you're going to make in the stock market? Maybe 8. You're going to take a tremendous amount of risk, and you're going to earn 5% in T-bills. So it's a pretty good play. And then, so what's your risk? You're risking $11,000 of your personal wealth. But I think right off the bat, you would get $7 grand of that back almost in rent. So you're really risking about $3,000 or $4,000 in your personal time.
Okay.
So talk it over with her. If she's good with it, go get your kid to practice and go find more deals so you can find more opportunities, invest in assets that appreciate for you. Keep in mind, I once bought a trailer. I think I paid $9 grand. I thought I way overpaid for it. It's worth $155,000. It was renting for $300 when I bought it. It rents for $1,300 now.
Nice.
No land lease, but honestly, I thought it was a terrible deal when we bought it. I really thought it was bad. So, I think trailers are like the new wave of affordability.
Oh, absolutely.
Make sure you read that paperwork on the land lease. Okay. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Okay. Let me know how it works out.
All right, Rick. Thank you.
Okay. We'll talk. Okay. Let's keep on moving here. Darius, what's going on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, man.
Awesome. Thank you for taking my call
No
or
problem.
video
What's
chat.
up?
Yeah, so I guess I have kind of two questions. I've been doing driving for dollars for about a month now. I have about 320 leads, well, 320 contacts for driving for dollars. I got a probate lead off of it. I met with the lady, which I'm really grateful for your probate videos because it helped me out tremendously. I
Awesome.
spent about 2 hours with her. And seriously, when you say probates are emotional, it's really emotional. She cried. I learned this lady's whole life story. It was deep. Now, me personally, I am a recovering self-sabotager. So I'm just gonna talk about it a little bit just to make sure that I don't know
Dude,
if I'm thinking too much about it or
you're in good hands with me then.
okay,
I'm a
good.
professional with that one.
So after I met with her, everything was great. She said she'll get back to me. She got back to me. One of your objections is the uncle, cousin, sister, neighbor wants to buy it. So her uncle wanted to buy it. Because I was ready for that objection, I responded greatly. She hit me back and said that she's going to go with me with the house.
Okay.
And then she just asked a bunch of questions about probate that I didn't have an answer for right then and there. And I had mistakenly told her that usually you need appraisals because I had read the wrong thing. But then later that night, I responded to her and just kind of gave her a breakdown of how the probate works. You kind of have extra protection with the court. You actually don't need appraisals because it's cash, so forth and so forth. So it's been maybe 5 days since I've heard from her. So I'm just curious. I think I sent that message maybe Thursday or Wednesday. I'm just curious because it is a sensitive subject. I don't want to come off pushy. I am generally interested in helping her because the situation was very deep. There's a lot of trauma that comes with the house.
Yeah.
And I'm really invested in it. I had chills. I almost, was brought to tears when I spoke to her. But I just don't know how often should I send a message. When I responded to that message, it was Tuesday. Then I sent her another message Friday, which maybe wasn't the best day because it's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
And just saying, hey, I hope what I said was understandable. I know this is I don't remember the language I use, like a tough decision or whatever for you. So I just want to let you know that I don't take it for granted. You're working with me. I would love to hop on a call with you so I can give you a better understanding how everything works so you can make a decision. So her thing is, do I want to sell it when the probate's over in December or should I sell it now? And I kind of broke down to her why she should sell it before the probate. So I'm just trying to figure out, well, when do I contact her again if she doesn't let's say she goes another week and I don't hear from her. I know the probate is a long game, but it's how often do I communicate with people when it comes to probates?
Okay. So which state are you in?
I'm in Georgia.
And are you doing this locally or virtually?
I'm doing it locally. Yeah, I'm driving for dollars. Reverse driving for dollars.
Okay.
And she's located in Virginia.
And the property's in your market there, right?
Yeah. So what happened was I posted on her door. Her brother used to live in the property. A lot of bad history that goes on there. But she just came back to visit and saw my posting, and I was able to meet with her before she left.
Wow.
To go back to Virginia.
So here's the good news, Darius. You've done everything correctly. You've done everything, and I know you're kind of self-doubting yourself. You just have to be you. That's why she connected with you. You were authentic. You were empathetic to her, and she feels compassion with you. So don't feel bad for reaching out to her to try to put a deal together. Because I think you feel bad like you're bothering her.
Yeah.
You're not. You got to go forward through it. So here's one of the techniques when you call them is, and I used to use this all the time, and I still do to this day. You can call her with an excuse and then reconnect with her. What's her name? Just give me your first name or something.
Christy.
Okay. Hey, Christy, I want to call you. I forgot to ask you a quick question about the house. When you make it about the house, it takes a lot of pressure off because they don't have to make yes or no decisions. Yes, it's a 3-bedroom. Yes, it's got X amount of bath. Yes, the yard's this big. This is when the roof was redone. And then, hey, listen, by the time last time we talked, I know it was a busy holiday weekend. I want to go ahead and send the paperwork over. Did you want me to send it over electronically, or do you want me to overnight it to you? And then just start walking her through that process by calling her and giving her a simple, like softball pitch question. You take, because most people, when you call, they're like, oh crap, here comes Darius. He's going to pound.
Right.
That's what you're thinking.
Right.
So you got to come in with her and just, hey, I had a quick question about the house. I forgot to ask you about it. How many bedrooms? You probably already know the answer. And then once you have her on the phone and she starts talking, depending on what kind of engagement she wants to do with you, that's when you just move forward with the conversation.
Okay. All right.
So have you gotten to a price with her yet?
Yeah. So what happened was she, I guess maybe months and months ago, before even the house got into probate, I guess some wholesalers spoke to her and gave her the price of $65,000. So when she brought the price up, and then when I did the comps and stuff, I said, well, I could go lower, but after our conversation and how everything went, I was just like, it may be just safe for me to stay at the 65,000. So that's where we're at. And the comps are like maybe like 230.
Oh my God. So you just need to find a way to get it under contract.
Okay.
And listen, you're gonna have to think outside the box there. It says you've done everything I've asked you to do this point. All you need to do is find a way to connect with her and be authentic. And the best way is call her with a question she already knows the answer to and it makes her feel good. And then get into it. I go, last time we talked, I want to just get the paperwork over to you. And either a lot of older people are not comfortable doing DocuSigns over the computer.
Okay.
I'm not even good at it, to be brutally honest with you.
I just had to learn it, so I know what you mean.
So the worst case scenario is you can go over to the USPS, the Postal Service. You can put our contract in there, and you put a little sticky note next to it that says "Sign here." You can get them at Office Depot, or you can just use your yellow sticky like you did on the door. And then you put in a prepaid return envelope in that.
Okay.
And it's $30.
Okay.
The old people love it. And here's the thing is you can watch with the tracking number, and the postal carrier will pick it up from her house if she sticks it in her mailbox. So she never has to leave her house.
Okay.
I've lost a lot of deals trying to do DocuSigns with older people.
Right.
Sometimes, guys, it's like $28.60 to put in the. And remember, when you do a return one, all you have to do is like certified mail back. It's $8 to return it. I think it's $20 to get it to them overnight.
Okay.
So it's like $30. It's well worth it. Even if it doesn't work out, it's the best insurance policy. Once she gets it to sign, you can't self-sabotage yourself. Once you have it signed, you now have a vacant house that you can run as many cash buyers that you need to buy it. And let me ask you, Darius, what are you going to do when she says, you go, well, how do I get access to the house? I don't have a key. What are you going to do?
I was gonna, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna ask her if she wanted to send a spare after I got it under contract.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And truthfully, but the house is open technically, but she just pushed because it used to be they were trapping out of the house. They were so she just pushed the couch towards the front door, but I'd rather ask her for access than just.
I got it. So just to ask her for access, what I would do with her permission, just change one of the front locks.
Okay.
You can mail her a key. You're doing her service. Cost you $20, $30 to do it like a local Home Depot, or you can call a locksmith.
Okay.
If she didn't have a key and you don't have access, and you don't want to wait 3 weeks to get it, just call a locksmith. It's like $50 to $75. Or if you're handy enough, you can go change the deadbolt lock and put on your own, and then put on a lockbox. And you got like 30 days to find the high. Like you can almost sell that thing retail because you have no restrictions to resell.
Got
And
you.
you just take care of her, and you'll give it to your title company and ask her. She probably wants to sell it before the probate's over, because then she doesn't have to pay any more bills. She has no responsibility with the house. And then
Right.
your title company will tell you what type of court order they need their lawyer to file a motion on. And you'll
Okay.
instruct on how to do that. But you have to take this down
Well,
to
because, sir,
paper. You got to get a contract first.
okay.
So are you
Okay.
comfortable reaching out to her, asking her a question she already knows the answer to, and then just softly talking to her?
Okay.
And then once you get that, just understand, do not let getting the key be like your stalemate. Hire a locksmith, or with their permission, change one of the front locks, put a lock box on it. And you have you probably have one of the best wholesale deals you'll ever have in your life.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure. So,
Okay.
now with the probates, you said the 2-page contract is fine. I don't have to send the state approved contract. Because she does have an attorney. Her attorney already gave her the information she needs if she wanted to sell it before probate, because the attorney is her friend.
Well, that's amazing. So it's up to you. Our contracts, a lot of times when there's a probate and there's an attorney involved, is you want to use like the state approved contract, but it's up to you. If you haven't done a lot of wholesale deals, I don't want to make this complicated. If you want to use the more normalized contract, you just have to make it assignable. I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if the volume's down or what's going on.
Oh, let me hear me?
So if you use a state approved contract, you can go to your title company and ask for them. Make sure the contract's assignable. Make sure you have an inspection period, and you're good to go. That's all you really need to have on there. Like, it's the same damn contract. It's more complicated. That's all it is. Okay. So it's up to you. Sometimes they don't want to be overwhelmed and flip through like 9 pages of contracts. That's why our wholesaling contracts, it's simple, it's to the point, it's very clear. It is perfectly legal. But if you're saying the probate's her friend and he's not going to kick it for the contract, then maybe the 2-page works best. I don't know.
Well,
it's up to you.
she also asked me those questions because she didn't want to ask the attorney, because she doesn't want to be charged any more fees. So
I would do the 2-page contract. You only need one signature on it, and it's simple.
Okay.
Okay.
My last question is, so I've been having trouble getting, and I might have the answer. It may just be rapport. So I had another probate contact me. Me and him spoke on the phone for maybe about 20-30 minutes. I was supposed to meet with him the next day. He's super motivated. It was his mother's house. He's ready to move. The house kind of trashed. I can't get him to respond to my. We were supposed to meet at the time, and then he said he had work until 6, and he needed to reschedule. I haven't been able to get him to reschedule for the past 4 days or respond. So maybe this is just something that happens, but this is like the third time.
Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you, for 21 years, I never stopped chasing these types of people around. Voicemail's full. It's usually a great sign you have an extremely motivated seller, because they can't manage their voicemail. You just click a button, delete stuff. It's not hard to do. But people do this in all stages. It never goes away in wholesaling. What you have to do is be unorthodox and think way outside the box.
Because I've
really
was going to
me in the probate process. You know what I do? I show up to the probate hearing by accident. My God, I can't believe you're here. I knew exactly they were going to be there. You have to do the same. You can know where the guy works. You start to figure out a schedule. You can look at a social media profile. Find a way to bump into them by accident if you can't get in touch with them in the next 4 or 5 days. So if you can't touch base on
the property
Saturday,
too much, right?
What's that?
It's showing up at his property too much.
Say it again. You're coming across mumbled here.
It's showing up at his property a little too much.
I don't know. It just. I find these type of people, you got to do something unorthodox to kind of break them. Either they sell it to you or they tell you to take a hike. I'm okay either way. I just don't want to sit in the maybe zone forever. And you're sitting in the maybe zone, the friend zone. And until you initiate some sort of action to get out of there, you're going to be stuck there.
Got you.
So get creative, DM him on Instagram or Facebook, or if you know where he works and stuff like that, just go, oh my God, I can't believe I drove by here. Or listen, all the time, I have people, we had one guy was a sales manager at a big restaurant. I remember I go, Zach, just go in there and order some food and start talking to him. And we did it and we struck a deal. It's just, he goes, I never thought to do that. I go, that's the thing is you have to think way outside the box.
Gotcha.
You have to keep going. Listen, Darius, you already figured you're going to fail more times than you succeed. So just be bold and take a risk. As long as you're authentic and you're yourself. And I tell you what, you got to call in the next week or two. We'll talk about the self-sabotaging thing because I was a master at that.
Okay.
Because you're having successes where you normally haven't had them. You're starting to like, okay, I'm in a very uncomfortable zone. You have to stay in that uncomfortable zone until it becomes completely comfortable. And then once that comes comfortable, you're going to keep pushing again. Because that self-sabotage is trying to tell you, go back down there where I think you belong. You don't belong there anymore. So keep doing exactly what you're doing. You're going to be blown away by the people that enter into contracts. And it's like, some of them are going to fail. You've already accepted that. You've already taken the risk at this point. You're doing a phenomenal job with the probates. Just keep going. They are by far, they are the deals you have to push the hardest on. And it's not like being annoying and just being an ass. You have to just pursue them because they have the highest profit and they're usually the best deals. You've done everything right. You understand the drama that comes with probates. And I tell people, if you're not empathetic, you're not caring, and you don't want to help people, please do not do probates. I can't tell you how many times I've shed a tear. I've had people like hugging all over me on it. And guys, I've been through probate personally multiple times in my family. It sucks. Okay. There's properties I've sold. I had such an emotional connection. I'm like, let's just move it. I didn't give it away, but like I made it very inviting who bought it. And these people are doing the same thing with you. So you're on the right path. I know it's uncomfortable and you're thinking like, maybe I just need to go back over there. Don't do it. Stay right where you are and think outside the box, especially on probate, because those deals are 3 to 4 times what your normal wholesaling deal is going to be. So those 2 deals alone could be like you doing 10 regular wholesale deals. It could massively change your life. And so you got to do it. You got to create win-win situations. Remember, you're not a salesman, you're a guide. And when people have stress like this, especially when death comes in their life, they need people that help them guide them. If they truly want to sell the house and they're ready to move on with it, you're the best fit for them. And if you believe that inside, you have to transfer your belief to them and let them know you're going to do anything you have to help them. But think about a kid that's not like, they're not paying attention. They're not getting stuff. Sometimes you just got to kind of grab the kid, or like, you got to like, hey, let's go get some ice cream. And you grab them the ice cream. You're going out to the ball field to hit balls to say, listen, we got to do this thing called practice. But when you're done with the practice, I will take you to that ice cream. You got to do the same thing with adults. Honestly, sometimes kids are easier to work with than adults because adults are set. You are a guide. So think about this. How can I get them? They want to sell their house. They're uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. Let's create a win-win situation and make it work for everybody. So don't go backwards, go forwards. You got it. So can you do me a favor and call me back next Monday and let me know where we're at?
I will, Rick. Thank you. I think I just needed a little bit of permission there. So I really appreciate it.
I'm proud of you. You're the right guy to work probates. And I want everybody on this live stream to understand this is why I like probates. But the reason I've done so well with probates is the strategies I've taught Darius. This is what I do. I don't run people over in probates. I've sat through 4-hour conversations. Who sits through? Would you sit? I'll sit through a 4-hour conversation for $100,000 profit all day long. I'll sit through 4 hours for a $10,000. I don't care. It's just the type of person I am. And you're the same way. So kudos to you. Stay uncomfortable because that uncomfortable is going to make you really comfortable in the long run. So keep helping them out and think outside the box. Any other questions with it?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
You got it. Awesome. Okay, guys, if you want to learn how to do this business, scrolling along the bottom, freewholesaling.com. Not only do I do probates, I teach you how to do regular wholesale deals. If you guys want to check us out on the Flip with Rick Plus and you want to spend more time, connect with us. It's a great place to connect with us, with me and my son one-on-one. And guys, listen, if you got value from today, do me a favor. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure you give a thumbs up. This is the Rick Ginn YouTube channel. Check out my son's, Zach Ginn, and then join us on the Flip with Rick, We broadcast there every Thursday, and we go and do one-on-ones with you guys. And if you love wholesaling, this is the right place to be. Guys, till next week, I will see you Thursday online. And I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. See ya.